3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Hey, what is up guys, it's Zodies247. I'm coming at you guys with a Fire Fist deck profile for the January 2015 format. I finally got all the cards I needed to build the deck. I've been really happy with it. This deck has been absolutely amazing. As I said in my previous videos, this deck can play one of two ways. It can play a grind game, or it can play an aggressive OTK based game. The deck's just really amazing. It's like just a bit of everything. It has answers for most of what your opponent does, and you know, you plus for days off of it. And I really just, it's a deck I always wanted to make, and I really love it. I love the artwork on these guys. I love, you know, their play style. They're just overall really amazing. I've been happy with the deck, so I wanted to profile this deck for you guys. Yeah, and as I progress through the deck profile, I'll be explaining some of my choices for the deck. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this deck profile, and let's get started. So starting off with the monsters, I'm running 3 copies of Fire Fist Bear. Bear is absolutely amazing. He gets you a +1 as soon as he does any kind of damage, and he searches out. He can search out a Fire Formation spell card. He can search out your Tenkies, your Tensus, and he offers you basic monster removal. He's just really all around really nice. And then to help him off, I run 2 copies of Fire Fist Gorilla. Most people just like the 1 Gorilla, and I've actually been thinking about dropping him down to 1, just because the second one in the deck isn't technically needed. But I do like having the second one in there anyways, just because a lot of times this guy, he's kind of like Lila in the sense that he as soon as he hits a board, he immediately baits out something like a bottomless or a warning, or you know, Fiendish Chain or anything like that. Like, he immediately baits out the back row, and sometimes they get rid of him, and it's just nice to have the second one in the deck. Like, sometimes you do. Sometimes I've had games where I do really do this second one, but you can just run 1 if you want to. But yeah. And then to continue off with the monsters, I'm running 2 copies of Fire Fist Dragon. Dragon is really nice because he's 1800 beater. He's your biggest beater in the deck. And also, when you activate any Fire Formation card, he can set a Fire Formation trap card from the deck. So he searches out your Tenstens, your Tenkins, and also he has a Wolfbark effect. He unclogs your back row, and you can special summon any Fire Fist monster. So it's a way to recycle Spirit again, which is pretty nice. I like it a lot. There's a lot of combos and OTKs you can do with Dragon, and he also sets you up for your cardinal play, which is kind of like a power play of the deck. It's really nice. So yeah, 2 dragons, and then to finish off the 4-axis portion of the deck, I run 2 Code Soldier Wolfbarks. If you're wondering why I only run 2 Wolfbarks instead of 3 like everyone else, I don't feel like 3 is necessary. Having the second one in the deck helps out a lot, but I don't think you need anything more than 2, because since I am running the 3-axis portion, I don't usually want to draw this guy early on. He's a card I'd rather search for, to be honest. So I feel it's definitely nice to have the second one, but you honestly don't need anything more than that. Well, at least in this version of the deck, anyways. So I like 2 Wolfbarks. So that's it for the 4-axis portion of the deck. Moving on to the 3-axis portion of the deck, I run 2 copies of Fire Fist Leopard. You guys all know what he does. He tributes himself. He sets a Fire Formation spell or trap card from the deck. Usually you want to combo him off with Spirit, because if you open up Leopard Tenki or Leopard Tensu, that immediately gets you to Spirit, which is gonna get you to your Horse Prince play, which is like a really, like, it's the best opening play you can have in this deck. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, 2 leopards, and then the 1 Spirit. Unfortunately, this card's still at 1, which kind of sucks. I think it's been a while already. I think this card can safely come back to 3 or even 2. It would just help out the deck a lot. Honestly, if this card came back to 3, I would probably just run 2 anyways. And then to round off the monsters, I run 2 copies of Rooster. Rooster is really nice because when it's special summoned by a Fire Fist monster, meaning Dragon, Tiger King if he gets popped, or the obvious Horse Prince play, you get to add a Fire Fist monster to your hand, and also he can get rid of one of your Fire Formations to set another one from the deck. So Tenki into Tenki, Tensu into Tenki, or you know, maybe you can search out a trap card if you want to. It's very nice. So yeah, that's it for the monsters. Onto the spell cards. I'm running 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki. This is obvious. You're a searchable Rhoda. It's really nice. Yeah, 3 Tenkis. And then I'm running 2 copies of Fire Formation Tensu, your double summon in the deck. I know most people just run 1, but me personally, I like 2 just because of the fact that sometimes I do pop the first one via bear, gorillas effect, or dragons or something. Or maybe my opponent MSTs it. You know, whatever happens, the Tensu usually ends up getting popped. So having the second one in the deck just it helps out a lot. It's very, very nice. I like the second Tensu. And then one Gyoko. Considering bumping this up to 2, but for now the one Gyoko is fine just because not every deck I run into sets an absurd amount of back row. So just having the one Gyoko, you know, it puts in work. It's searchable, and you know, like I haven't really had the need for a second one. So yeah. So the one Gyoko is fine. For the rest of the spell cards that are not fire formations, I run 2 copies of Duality. You do special summon quite a bit with the 3-axis engine, but you don't necessarily need to because you know you have Fire Formation Tensu, so you can run this card safely without having to worry. And it's really good because it helps you get out to your combo pieces a lot faster. And it basically just replaces itself with another more useful card. So I like the dualities in here. They're very nice. It just helps with the consistency of the deck. Only 2 though, because you can only activate it once per turn, and 3 just seems like it would be way too cloggy. 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. You just need to run these. I would bump this up to 3, but considering I run cards like Gyoko and a few other cards I'm going to mention later on in the profile, I feel like you don't really need 2 in this deck. Speaking of cards, 2 Forbidden Lance, and this is another reason why I don't run 3 MSTs, because I have cards like Lance. Lance is absolutely amazing in this deck. I would almost consider this a staple in Firefish, just because a lot of times you don't open up with the 3-axis engine, and you need to get your sometimes you do need to get your attacks through to get your plus. So Forbidden Lance just helps you out with that. And also, if you do open up with the 3-axis portion, if you do open up with the spirit play, and you know your opponent sets a bunch of back row, as long as they don't have warning and they have something like a breakthrough or a Phoenix Chain for the spirit, you can just lance it and go for your play anyways. So Lance puts in a lot of work. I like it. And then for the 1-ups, 1 Book of Moon. Book of Moon's just around really amazing card. It wins games on its own. It's very good. I like it a lot. And then 1 Snatch Steal. Snatch Steal is great for top decks, and you know, it's just a really good card in general. Just take your opponent's monster, practically no cost. They gain 1,000 points at the standby phase. Won't really be relevant because they're probably gonna go to OTK the same turn you activate this. I don't really understand why Konami brought this back, but they did, so I'm gonna play it. So yeah, that's it for the spell cards. Onto the traps. For the Fire Formation trap cards, I run 2 copies of Fire Formation Tensen. You have quite a few ways to search this, and it's basically like Rush Recklessly on crack because it's continuous. You gain your Beast Warrior will gain 1,000 attack points during that. Well, it's 700 plus the 300 though from the continuous effect. So 1,000 for that turn as long as this doesn't get popped somehow. And like I said, it does stay to give all your Beast Warriors a permanent 300 attack boost as long as it stays on board. It's just very good. It's a very good card. And then 1 copy of Fire Formation Tengen. Tengen's really good because it's a searchable. It's basically a searchable lance. Gives your Beast Warrior kind of like a Felgrand effect, and you can only do it during main phase 1, but it's still really good. It's definitely worth running as a 1-up though, but yeah, because you only really need 1. So yeah, for the rest of the traps, I run 3 copies of Phoenix Chain. A lot of people might question this because it can clog up the board because I do run a lot of continuous spell and traps, so a lot of people might think that, you know, this is kind of asking for trouble, but I do like Phoenix Chain. Even in this deck, I still really love Phoenix Chain over Breakthrough, just because the fact that sometimes you do need to stop an opponent's attack, and obviously this does negate monster effects too, so something like an Excidon Knight would obviously be a little, be kind of problematic, or a Felgrand that might be problematic. So Phoenix Chain is really nice because it stays attached to the monster, and that's exactly why I like it. This usually doesn't stay on the board very long though, because this deck does pop a lot, so I actually really like Phoenix Chain over Breakthrough. But speaking of which, I do run the 1 Breakthrough anyways, along with the 3 Phoenix Chains. And this might seem excessive, but it's not really. I've actually considered bumping up Breakthrough skill to 2, just because this deck gets wrecked hard by cards like Excidon Knight and Ragna Zero. those cards just will not, you will not have fun if your opponent summons those cards. So I like to pack up as much as I can on my effect negation. Like I said, I would bump breakthrough skill up to 2 just because of that. But for now, the 1 breakthrough skill is fine. I do draw into my negation quite a bit, and it definitely just put in work against decks that do run those cards. So yeah. For the rest of the top cards, I run 2 copies of Trap Stun. Like I said, this deck can be very aggressive, and it's very nice to shut off my opponent's traps for a turn, so I can go off freely and just get my OTK. And then for the 1-ups, I run 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, no explanation needed, 1 Compulsory Evacuation Device, no explanation, and the 1 Warning. These cards are self-explanatory, no explanation needed. But that's it for the main deck. So on to the extra deck. For the extra deck, I run 2 copies of Tiger King. I like having 2 in there just because I do actually go into 2 quite a bit. Tiger King is just an amazing card. He's an instant +1 as soon as it hits the board, and you know he has that skill drain effect, so he gets rid of like anything problematic like a Draco Sack or it just deals with really annoying continuous monster effects. So I really like 2 Tiger Kings. 1 Cardinal, he's the game winner. He's your Tiramisu. He recycles your Tenkies and your monsters, and he spins things back on your opponent's side of the field too. So Cardinal is just really good. Definitely, it's a staple card. You absolutely need Cardinal if you're playing this deck. So yeah, the 1 Cardinal. I thought about bumping this up to 2, but I only ever go into 1. So yeah, 1 Cardinal. 1 Castel. Castel is just really good. Castel is just a really good card for spinning. You need to run Castel. Oh, and this is also why I don't run a 2nd Cardinal, because you have Castel, which is generic. A long time when you go into your generic XEs, you use Wolfbark, and Wolfbark can't get you into Cardinal. So yeah, Castel, it's pretty nice. 1 Dweller, basically it's an accessible soul drain at any time. It's very nice. Helps you a lot against the Brilliant Abyss matchup and the Shaddoll matchup. This card's really good. 1 Ragnar Zero. Against Pendulum, it's really good against Pendulum decks, and it's really great. It's great against a lot of rogue decks too, like Madolches, and even a mirror match. This card just gonna put in so much work. I love this card. Very nice. 1 number 80 Rhapsody Berserk. This card is absolutely amazing. You need to run this card. Yeah, the mini soul release effect is really nice, and also it's really funny to equipping this to a Tiger King, because he already has a pretty big boot. He's already pretty beefy under the fire formations, but this is just like kind of overkill. But I like it. I like the Rhapsody. 1 Gaga Cowboy. This guy can push for a lot of damage, so that extra 800 steals games. 1 Diamond Dyer. A lot of people stop running this. I still like it in this deck specifically, just because of the fact that you do have a lot of other targets other than himself, and sometimes you do really need to get rid of a problematic card. So Diamond Dyer Wolf, really nice. 1 Crazy Box. The only reason I run this because of skill drain, and because a lot of skill drain decks, decks like obviously Pendulum decks, TG Stun, other decks like that. Having Crazy Box in the extra deck is just really helpful. 1 Roach, because fuck Light Thorns. Honestly, that's pretty much why I run it. 1 Lion Emperor. You rarely make rank 3s, but this deck can, and this is your go-to guy when you make a rank 3, because he's so good. He recycles your Spirit, he recycles your Wolfbark, he recycles your Bear if you want him to. Lion Emperor is just really fucking good. And he's pretty beefy too. He's 2200 attack. It's not uncommon to see him to be 27 or 28 under all the fire formations, so pretty nice. And then for the synchros, I run 2 Horse Princes. He's gonna be your go-to guy when you do the Spirit play. He's basically a +2 or a +3 really, because he special summons Rooster, and Rooster lets you add a card, and add a Fire Fist. So yeah, Horse Prince is gonna be your go-to guy. And your other synchro, your other Beast Warrior synchro is 1 Vulcan Divine. Vulcan's still pretty good too, just because he bounces something on your opponent's side of the field, and he recycles your Tenki. So. Or any of your other continuous spells. So yeah, and that's it for the extra deck. So on to the side deck. The side deck's kind of up to you guys, but this is my side deck for this deck. It's basically player preference. You can decide whatever you want, but this is what I have. So tell me what you guys think. So I have one D Fisher. The 3-axis portion of this deck does get wrecked by a D Fisher, but if I play this, it's after I do my plays. And also the 4-axis portion of the deck can very easily play around this. 1 Soul Drain. There's a lot of graveyard reliant decks in this meta, so Soul Drain just puts in so much work. I like Soul Drain a lot. The third MST, just for decks that run a lot of Floodgate cards. The third MST comes in handy. Two Spell Shattering Arrows, mostly just for the Pendulum decks. I know everyone cites Fairy Winds, but they're really expensive. They're really expensive right now, and I can't actually cite Fairy Winds in this deck just because this deck gets hurt. It gets destroyed by that card too. So this card for now. 2 goals in match, mostly for rogue decks. This deck doesn't really care about this card because everything is fire attribute. But it absolutely there's a lot of decks that this card absolutely destroys, so I like it. 2 Light Imprisoning Mirrors. This card's really good against Satellar Knights and a few of the rogue decks, like Lightsworn and whatnot. Light Imprisoning Mirrors just puts in a lot of work. 3 Shadow Mirrors. Shadow Mirrors just really good against Burning Abyss, Shaddolls, and any other dark deck that you come across. Maybe those rogue Dark World decks. And lastly, I run 3 copies of Flying Sea. Now you might be wondering, what the hell would I max out on Flying Sea? Well, Satellar Knights and any other rank 4 spam deck are really annoying. They do against this deck. First card they go to is either Exile Knight or Ragna Zero, and you absolutely need to have this card because this card will win you games. This absolutely cripples their toolbox. It destroys them if they don't have an answer for it, and you can just kind of just keep playing and gaining advantage until you can just pop this with Bear and just OTK them. So Flying Sea puts in so much work. I love this card. It's definitely side worthy and maxed out. Trust me, guys. It's a really good card. So yeah, that's it for my Fire Fist deck profile. In the comment section below, tell me what you guys thought about the deck profile, if you would make any changes to the deck, or what your suggestions are. Make sure to thumbs up the video, subscribe to my channel, show your support, and this is Exotius247 signing out.